Hi everyone, welcome to, I think this is the sixth video of the complete application development series. I cut the previous video like kind of abruptly, so let's continue with this video. I think that here's where I left in the previous video, and let's continue with the migration. So I have already create the countries migration. Then we have to create let me move the database here. This migration, the one that contains the users table, the temp couples table, the couples table, and the points tables, that will be like couples migration maybe, or maybe just users migration. I think that users fits better. So let's do that. Yeah, I think that's the way. So let's create that migration. In this case will be users couples. Let's do something like this, users couples. Yeah, we have it right here. So let's create the tables, create table. This will be if not exists users, and this table will have an ID of type UID, which is a primary key. It will also have a first name, which is of type text, not null. The commas, I'm missing the commas here and here. Last name, text, not null. Then gender, which is text, not null. And here I will have, there's a constraint. That means that the gender has to be either male or female. However, as I said in the previous video, I always like to maintain my constraints, my business constraints at the application layer and not at the database layer. So I won't add here a constraint, a check constraint, because I prefer to have that in my application layer. As I said in the previous video, I really love database constraints, procedures, functions, and all that kind of stuff when we're talking about a database administration. But for software development, I prefer to have everything in the application layer. So let's continue with the birth date. I think this is a timestamp, not null, but let me verify that the name is that. So what's the name of a date type in Postgres? Date timestamp. So date is type, it stores calendar days without any associated time values. It follows the format year, month, day. Okay. In addition to date type, Postgres provides other related data types. Timestamp for the timestamp is similar to timestamp, but includes time zone information. I don't care about that. Time stores only the time component, and interval. Let's go with date for this one. Then let's continue with created at. This will be a timestamp, not null, because I need the time, the specific time, the hour, minute, second. Then language, which will be text, not null. Oh, this can be null. I don't know why I have it in my database as nullable. Well, whatever. Yeah, I don't remember why I did it that way. The language can be null? That doesn't make sense. I mean, that makes no sense. I think that it's because the default language should be the one associated with the country of the user. And the country of the user is given by... The country of the user is given by... The flow of the application will be like the user registers, creates its account, and the country is given by, I think, the API, the IP. That will be the way in which I will determine the country. And depending on that, then the user will be associated with that country. However, the user can change its country, and therefore, or the language. So this can't be nullable. I like to have the country of the user, yeah. However, I don't. This won't be nullable. Not null. And I'm gonna change that in my database design here, right here. I change to be not nullable because, yeah, the flow is the following one. When the user gets its account, then a country is associated to the user, depending on the IP address. And then, but the language, where is the language of the country? So why did I have a country? What does the country do? The country does nothing. I guess it's kind of useful to know the country of an user. No, that doesn't make sense. Why I have it this way? Country, special dates. Oh yeah, it's because of the special dates. I need to know the country of an user in order to show the user special dates of that country, of that specific country. And the language, but the language would be associated with what? At first, a country will have a language. When the user creates his account, then the country is associated depending on the IP address. And then the language, the default language for that country will be the one assigned to the user. However, the user can then change the language. That's why I have it here as a different field, because the language is a field specific to the user and the configuration of the user that can be changed by the user, but the country can't be changed by the user. Yeah, I think that I get it. It's simply not nullable. And then let's continue with active. Active is a variable which specifies if this user is active or inactive. Then this will be an integer of 1. It's like a boolean, but let me check, because if I'm not wrong, Postgres doesn't have something like a boolean type, so I will need to use some kind of a bit or something like that. Does Postgres have a boolean type? Oh yeah, it has. Perfect. Boolean. I don't know why I thought that it hasn't. Boolean, not null. And then the country ID will be a reference key, which UID references countries field ID, and it will be not null because I need to know the country of the user, and that will be this table. Let's continue with the next one. Create table if not exists. Then this will be the couples one. Yeah, this will have a couple ID. Yeah, I'm gonna change this ID. Save. This will have an ID which is of type UID, primary key. Then it will have a key ID which points to the male of the couple, which will be something like UID references users on ID, not null. And then we have the she ID this. Yeah, I know if you're thinking that this isn't like walking off, because I'm not allowing some kind of a different relation, male with male, female with female. I know, and I may in the future change it. However, right now for me will be a lot of work in order to leave the option to the user to choose its his or hers or its pronouns and all of that stuff. So I don't want to deal with that. For now, let's keep it like a traditional couple, like male and female. So relation start, which is when they became a couple, which will be a date. It will be not null because I need to know that. And the end date, this is also a date, but this can be null. Now, well, what does the end date mean? The end date means that a couple can be broken up. If the user selects to break up, that will terminate that couple. However, I want to keep that. I don't want to delete that register because I want to keep the data. And then I will simply add an end date. If this end date is different to null, that means that couple is inactive, is inactive anymore. And this also helps because since I keep the data, I keep everything, I don't delete anything. Then if the users want to place a request in order to reactivate their account, because I don't know, they how is it said in English, like they came back as a couple. Yeah, I think that's the way it's said. If they came back and they want to get their accounts again, then it can be done because all the information is already there. I will only need to delete the end date. Let's continue with the other tables. Temp couples. Oh, I don't know. It's here. Create table if not exceeds temp couples, and this will have an user ID, which will be a UID, references users on the ID field. It will also have a code which will be of type integer. Let me check. Show me all the Postgres numeric types. Small int, integer, a 4-byte send integer. Int 32, big int, serial, no big serial, small, floating point, numeric, exact numeric types, a type of storing exact numeric values with user defined precision and scale, as well as for precision. Yeah, I think is this the one that allows me to specify how many digits I want in the left side of the command, how many in the right side? I think it's this one. Yeah, but for this I simply need an integer. It's called int or integer? I guess integer, and that's all. Yeah, because it's a 4 bytes, 32 bits, so yeah, not null. This table will be used in order to create a vinculation code for the two users in order to vinculate into a single couple. And as for this, I need to create a temporal couple. That's why I call it like temp couples. It's a temporal register with the generated code, and basically is that. Here I will store it, and once they connect, then the row will be eliminated and a couple will be created. Let's continue. I also have the created add, which will be timestamp not null, and also dated add timestamp not null. Why is this? Because I want the relation between temp couples and the users will be 1-to-1, not one to many. Why? Because I don't want a user to be able to create multiple temp couples. If you're trying to vinculate to a couple, you're only trying to vinculate with one couple. You don't need to create a lot of codes for different couples, simply one. So if this user is trying to vinculate to a couple, then we'll create this one. If he wants to refresh the code or anything like that, then he will need to he won't be creating a new row. He will simply be updating this one with a new code. Now, should the codes have an expiration time? I won't add it. I mean, I don't think it's needed. Or could it be? No. I simply will add here an unique constraint, because yeah, I here do need to be unique in order to reference only one couple. And then I have to add the constraints of primary key to the user ID. And that will be all. And then I want to create another table, which is points. It keeps track of the points of the couples. The points are like points that the couple can win with different games in the application. Exists points. It will have an ID. The ID will be UID. Primary key. We also have a points with it's the amount of points that it has. It will be an integer, not null. Then the year will be an integer. The month will be, I think this can be small ints. Yeah, completely small int. Let's check for performance here. This two will be not nil, not null. Week. If there was any type of a byte type, unfortunately there's not. There's simply 2 bytes. Well, let's keep it with 2 bytes. Small int, not null. And then, does this have sense? Weekly. Why the month? The month isn't needed. Because let me explain what I'm doing. I want to keep track of the points of the users weekly. So once a week ends, then a new register of points is created. But do I want it? I want it monthly, not weekly. Let's keep it as monthly. Let me think, because I don't know. I wanted some kind of a windowing, something like this. Let me show it to you. So I want to keep the points of the couple will be determined by the last 4 weeks. So the points gained this week, let's say 20, let's say 21, let's say 22, let's say 10 here. Now in this case, the points that the couple will have will be 63. 63 plus 10 will be 73. Then the window moves 1 step. So then, well, basically what I want is that when the window moves, then it moves like this. A new week right here, and then if this week they had 5 points, then these are the 4 last weeks that will be taken into account. All the weeks right here from this point to before won't be taken into account, simply these ones. And then the new points will be simply 68. Yeah, that's the way I'm windowing. So I'm thinking how to keep track of that in the database, because I simply need the last 4 weeks. I need to keep track of the last 4 weeks. How can I do that? The points, a register of points, weekly. Yeah, it makes sense that they have to be weekly. However, how will I keep track of what week are we talking about? Could it be simply the number of the week in the year? However, I will need to calculate that every time. These moments when I have to think and to analyze are the worst ones. So the year, the month, the week. The other option will be to do it 8 days. So I keep track of the starting date and the day, not date, day, and the ending day. And then I move like that. So I won't be tracking this number of weeks. However, I will be tracking these dates. So since I know this day and this day, then I can identify this week, and I can identify, for instance, if the user doesn't enter into the application these 2 weeks, and then he decides to enter this week, then since these 2 weeks he didn't enter, when I do the fetch, I won't have these 2 registers. The last one will be this one. However, since I keep track of the specific days of that week, then I will be able to calculate that this period of time corresponding to 2 weeks was that's the way in which I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna change my database right here, because I simply need something like starting day and ending day. They are weekly. I have to remember that. I mean, I will add here a note because I don't want to forget that in the future. Weekly. Yeah, I think that's perfect. And these ones will be of type date. So let's create this right here. So starting day, this will be a type date, and then let's copy and paste this one. Ending day, also of type, let me format this. And I don't need this anymore. I need 2 primary keys, 2 foreign keys, I mean, the user ID, which references. But why the user ID? Oh yeah, because but then where I'm keeping track of the couples points. Where are my couples points? Because these are the individual points of a user. But I'm not keeping track of the couples points. Or am I? Oh yeah, I think I am. But the thing is that this table will contain both the points for the users individual users, but also for the couples. However, they are nullable. They both are nullable because it can be either used for user or for couple. So then I'm gonna add a note right here, and is that one table for both individual points and couple points. Notes are pretty important because this kind of stuff are the ones that are the points that I think when I'm designing the stuff or when I'm doing it, but then when I check out days later, I don't remember why I did it the way I did it. So let's change this. This will be an UID references, these references users, references users on ID, and it can be null also couple ID, UID references couples on ID, and that would be all for this migration. So let's simply write the down for this. Will be drop table users, drop table if exists 1 2 3 4 5 couples, them couples points, simply these two, yeah, these four. So now delete this, and I have my users migration. So then I can finally move on with the authentication migrations. The couple levels, where should I keep? Yeah, I think I'm gonna add this table right here. Create table if not exists couple levels, ID of type UID, primary key, then level name. The level name is key is a text not null, then the level description, again text not null. Then we have the mean monthly points, which is an integer not null. This determines, this is the level, these are the levels in which the couples can be in, basically, and these levels are determined by the points that the couple has in the last 4 weeks, which is the month. So here is determined by this field. This field determines where, if the couple has these minimum points, then it applies to this level. And then we have an image URL. Yeah, and will be text not null, because I want to have an image for this. Let's write the down for this table, and I will end this migration. So now let's continue with the authentication migrations. So let's move to out. I have it now here. Let's do create table if not exist, and it will be users out ID UID primary key email. The email will be a text not null, or it can be null. I mean, it can be null. The hash is also a text. The OAuth provider is also a text. The OAuth ID, I think, is a text, but as I said before, this table is the one that can change in the future, because it may change when I implement OAuth authentication. So, but for now, let's work with this like this. Created add, this will be a timestamp not null. This one isn't nullable. Let me move this 3. Okay, now I have to reference the user, which is UID that references the table users on ID. And the next table that I need is the sessions table, which is create table if not exist sessions, which has an ID. It also has a token, which is of type text not null. It also has a device, which is of type text not null. It also has an OS, operative system, which is of type text not null. Here I should have a constraint, whether it is Android, iOS, or web. But let's move that constraint to the application level. Expires at. This is a timestamp, not null, and then we have a created at, which is a timestamp, not null. Then we have a last used, which is of timestamp, not null. And then we have to reference the user ID, so user out ID. And I'm gonna change that in my database because I prefer that name out ID. Yeah, perfect. Save. No, save. So this will be of type UID, references users out on ID, which is not null. And here this is also not nullable. I'm gonna remove this command because this can give me errors. And now let's write the down for these migrations. Drop table if exists user out and sessions. Perfect, we have our migrations. Let's check if they are working properly. They should be working properly. Let's come back to my main because I want to check if I have everything, all the code set up. Migrations, yeah, it should work. So I'm gonna run before I'm gonna check if Docker, if my Postgres container is running. Docker container list Postgres up. Yeah, so let's do it. Go run cmd api main.go. Unknown driver Postgres. For an import, I have to import the Postgres driver, even if I'm not using it. So let me Postgres. Where is it? Is this one? So let's go to the database because no, this not this one. This one, my service DB, and I think it's right here. So here I need to add this in order to determine. So go get now it's working. This is because it's an implicit dependency, not explicitly. It won't be used explicitly in the code. However, it needs to be imported in order to the SQL package to be able to open the Postgres database. That's why we add this underscore, which means that we need it, even though we don't use it in the code. So let's run now again, and we have an issue. File, the immigration source driver, unknown driver file. Unknown driver file. Let me check how I did it in my previous project. Main. Where are my migrations? File. .db migrations. Yeah, it's the same way. What's the difference? Unknown driver file. No. Migrations, file db. I don't need to import it. So let me move to the main and let's import it. It's also an implicit import, and we also need the Postgres migrate dependency right here. Now let's try again. Running comport 8081. I'm gonna add a log right here, which is log.println, printf, or print migrations up, just to check. So let's do it again. Migrations up. It seems that everything's working. Let's verify it in our database. So let's reload it. Esquema de base de datos, countries, schema migrations. Why do I have only countries? DB Postgres, DB couples. I only have countries and schema migrations. This doesn't seem right, because I have multiple migrations. So at least I know that some migrations are running successfully. However, I may have an issue at some point. So you know what? Let's ask. However, it should give an error in any case if the dirty let me ask ChatGPT what it thinks about it. Does this Postgres SQL look fine? Syntax issues. Missing comma in users table. Comma. Here's the issue. However, I don't like that it seems that the migrate package doesn't show the error. Check. I don't care about that. I don't care about the checks, as I said. Well, that should be the error. However, let me check, because I would like the migrate package to inform me about the error. If error is different to nil and it's different to no change, it should give me the error. It seems that migrate package doesn't show the error in case that the migrations have any issues. So let's try again. Countries, schema migrations. Yeah, because it's dirty. So since it's dirty, I don't think it will work. So I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna delete these registers to force it to start again. Migrations up. Okay. Version 3. Now I have it all the tables. Yeah, it's working fine. Schema migrations, yeah, it's perfect. Countries, level, awesome. Everything worked perfectly. So now I should be able to check my endpoint. So let's check the register endpoint. It's the important one. So for this, I'm gonna use Postman, because I want to to have stored all the collections of my endpoints. So this request will be, can I add, yeah, it will be register, and the URL will be a post localhost. Well, this is http localhost, it's 8081 v1 out register. First of all, let's check error invalid body, because there's no body at all. So let's add one of type JSON. So let me check the email. It will be, let's say, diego@gmail.com, and then let's add a password, which is any password like this, but notice that I should add a digit, so it should return me an error. Whatever information I need in my endpoint, let me remember, in my handlers, out handlers, I need a device and the OS information. So let's add device, which will be, let's say, Samsung, and then the OS will be Android, and it should be working fine. So let's, the password isn't secure enough. Perfect. Let's add a forward here. No user found with that email. Yeah, but that shouldn't be returning. So let's move to my service, because it shouldn't be returning that error. No, it's not the service. I meant the business service. User, get user by email. If user is different to nil, return error a mail. If user is different to nil, yeah, because identify user, which means the email is already used. No, cancel. And if the error is different to nil and errors, and this one isn't true, that's the issue. Now it should, I have an issue, no change. Yeah, I get it. If error is, oh yeah, here also two issues with the inversion of the condition, because here the error was that I wanted to check if there was an error, but the error wasn't this one, then I want to return it. If the error was this one, then I don't care. It's perfectly fine. It's even what I'm looking for. I mean, you know, we could simplify this code. Let's simplify this code. Should I simplify this code? Yeah, let's do it. So here, since I'm checking simply for the uniqueness of the email, let's simply do if error is, and this will also check if the error is nil, if it's different from this one. I mean, if error is different to nil, or error is different to this one, then return and error already in use. No, simply this error, and that will be all. Yeah, really better, an improvement, a big improvement. So let's add this code right here, and I don't care about the user right now. I only care about the error, and that's everything that I need. Perfect. Let's do it again. So let's check. Yeah, I shouldn't be getting that error, because if the error is different to nil, and here is an and, not an or, it's an and. So let's do it again. There was an error creating the account for the user. Got it. Perfect. So there was an error creating the. So let me move to the repository layer and check what could be the error. So I'm gonna log, no fatal, simply print, and let's log the error. Let's do it again, once again, and let's try again. The error seems null value in column user ID of the relation users out violates non-null constraints. What null value? Because db migrations user out app, which is the user ID, is not null, and I'm not passing it. User out ID email created at. Oh, I got it now. That's why in the database, as you can see, I have it as a null. Yeah, it makes completely sense. So let's remove this non-null. And let me check if there's an easy way to change it here in my table. So it's users out. Users ID null. Yeah, it can be null. Simply, it was pretty easy. So let's start again. Now this session. So let's move to my create session, and once again let's print the error. However, I will need to delete the user out that was created, which is this one. So let's delete it, and then continue a new user ID of the relation session does not exist. User ID of the because once again I changed the number, the number, not the name that I wanted for that field. So simply let's change that name and everything will be fine. Once again, start again and remove again this register. So let's post it. We got it. We have the refresh token. Now let's check that it is checking the uniqueness of the email. So the email is already in use. So let's. There was an error that giving the user out. It's not what I wanted. It shouldn't be returning that error. Create user, error creating user, error creating user. But it's because this shouldn't be returning this error. It should be returning the domain error, which is domain error. No, isn't this one. Is no. What? It's this one. Get user by email, error retrieving user. SQL error not rows. So let's log the error that is going on here. Let's try again. Scan error. In column index 3 name auth provider converting null to string is unsupported. Oh, fuck. Yeah. It makes sense. This is a mandatory to keep in mind all the nullable fields. So let's move to my models, and then what are the nullable fields? The nullable fields will be email, hash, auth provider. Let's try once again. Yeah, but this isn't what I want because it's not checking the uniqueness of the email. If I check my users out, I will see a lot of them with the same email, which makes no sense. So let's come back to the repository where email is equal to my, yeah, it should be retrieving the row. So no user found email. I want to check something. Log.print model. I want to check what is the model. My model, it's an address of a struct which has a lot of pointers. But there's information, which means it's indeed retrieving the model. So just to verify, let's log.print this error. It's kind of redundant. However, I want to check that it's entering that block of code. And it seems that it's not. Oh yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be entering that block of code because it's returning the model. If it's returning the model, the issue is at the service layer because I have get user by email, if error is different from nil, and error is not error user no user of font. I think that I prefer the previous way. Yeah, I get the error. The error is this one. Is that here I'm only checking for the error if I got this error. However, if I didn't, oh yeah, this simply should be if error is it's equal to nil, which means if I got no error means that I got a model, which means I found the user out. Or if I got an error which was equals to domain error no user found, then I return the error. No, I mean, I would. But will be the error confirm email. This one. Let's start again. Okay, now I get it. Perfect. Let's change the email in something. Now it's creating. Then now let's try again. Perfect. The endpoint it's working fine. So now let's continue. But first of all, let's commit the changes. So git add a register endpoint completely implemented, and let's push the changes. Git push origin main. So yeah, basically in this video I made the migrations and then I completed the register endpoint. So that will be everything for this video. See you in the next video.